Welcome back. Well, the Reindustrialize 2.0 Summit set to begin next Wednesday in Detroit, featuring major stakeholders in tech, manufacturing, government, military, and finance in an effort to modernize America's industrial base. Speakers this year include NATO Ambassador Matthew Whitaker, U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer, Anduril's founder Palmer Luckey, Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation President David Trujillo, and Archer Aviation CEO Adam Goldstein. Joining me now is the co-founder of Reindustrialize, Austin Bishop. Austin, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Great to see you, Maria.
Well, I know that President Trump has made this a priority, reindustrialize our manufacturing sector, get American companies to get their supply chains back to America. What should we expect out of this summit?
Yeah, look, I mean, we started this just on an idea about 13 months ago and through the first summit with about two months of heads up. And we're just inundated with demand and excitement around really just this revival of interest from small mom and pop manufacturers to large, heritage manufacturing industrial companies to cutting edge tech companies. Everyone just kind of realizing we need to reclaim sovereignty over where and how we produce stuff and manufacture things. And so I think for the second year for us, we've just been overwhelmed with the demand and excitement and inbound. I mean, we have thousands of people on a wait list. Unfortunately, it's good for the business, but this is, we started this not to form a business, but to really capture a revival of this movement of reindustrialization, which I think is super important for our country, for the middle class, and it's something that we take really seriously. And we're very excited this year to have such an incredible list of people who are going to be there attending and speaking.
Yeah, no, but I mean, President Trump has been trying to get corporate America to understand this. These are national security issues, and it took tariffs and the fact that these companies are now facing higher costs in order for them to understand that the president wants supply chains in America. What are you hearing or seeing in terms of corporate America understanding the importance of this as it relates to a national security issue?
I think we're seeing it everywhere. I mean, just on the commercial break, I saw, a big commercial for shipbuilding, and I do not remember in recent years seeing nearly as much interest, especially from the investment community, in investing either early stage all the way to late stage in key manufacturing industrial capacity. This is, like you said, a national security issue. I remember during COVID, moms in the Midwest couldn't even get baby formula because the Suez Canal was blocked. So we're talking about, of course, things like drones and shipbuilding, but we really have to rethink how our supply chains are set up from the ground up, because a lot of the things that we kind of take for granted, if it's in the hands of another country that might not have our best interests in hand, all of a sudden, if there's a shortage, we're at the mercy of other folks, which I don't think is a great way for our country to be set up.
And that's exactly why the president this week said, look, I'm prepared to put upwards of 200% tariffs on pharmaceuticals to get the pharma companies to understand they've got to manufacture the important pharma products that we need here in America. And we learned that over COVID as well, when the propaganda of the Chinese Communist Party sent out tweets saying, well, maybe we won't send the underlying components of prescription drugs to America. I mean, 90% of the components for prescription drugs are made in China. Should we be relying on China for our medicine?
Well, it's even a higher number for the precursors for children's antibiotics, which is, would be a parent's worst nightmare. I think it's something upwards of 95% of the precursors, which, these aren't exotic materials, these aren't exotic pharmaceuticals, these are things that we could produce here. But there's been a push to offshore these things, and certainly Wall Street has benefited a lot from that. But Main Street, I think, has been left kind of holding the bag on those decisions that were made, which, I'm not pointing fingers at individuals, but I think this is a real opportunity for us as a nation to rethink how we've organized our supply chains and where our companies are best situated to manufacture and produce things.
Well, it's a great point. Are you also investing around this, Austin? I know you, in a former life, were a quantitative trader. You've got money under management. So how does one invest around this reindustrialized movement?
Yeah, I'm from the Rust Belt originally, found my way into the hedge fund world, and but now I'm on the private side and invest heavily across everything from manufacturing, supply chain, logistics, drones, everything kind of under the sun in this space. And I think, there's a lot of opportunities in the public market. Certainly, I don't want to give out financial advice, but it's been remarkable to see the inbound interest from investors wanting to back, especially even early stage companies, young, hungry entrepreneurial founders. And there's a real revival going on all over the country of these young founders who are of tech companies who want to build, like I said, whether it's a drone company or folks doing deep sea mining, you name it. These are exciting companies that are drawing young people into, in some cases, drop out of college and go and build something meaningful that's good for their career and great for the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And the president, of course, signed the big, beautiful bill into law on July 4th as a win for middle-class Americans and domestic manufacturing as well. Here's the president. Watch.
So this bill will fuel massive economic growth and lift up the hardworking citizens who make this country run. The factory workers, farmers, mechanics, waiters, waitresses, police officers, firefighters, coal miners. So as we approach the 250th anniversary of America's founding exactly 1 year from now, we are creating an economy that delivers wealth for the middle class. The golden age of America is upon us. We are in the golden age. It's going to be a period of time, the likes of which I don't think this country has ever experienced before. We're going to make America great again, and it's happening very fast.
Well, this has obviously been a priority for the president. Austin, real quick on the Reindustrialize summit next week, what are you hoping to achieve?
Well, just echoing off President Trump's remarks there, I mean, certainly the big, beautiful bill is a huge win for him and anyone who is manufacturing and trying to produce things in America. And the main goal of the summit is really just to capture this momentum and energy that, certainly we weren't the first folks to think about this. Going back decades, there's countless nameless people whose companies have been driven out of business due to offshoring. And so we just put a name on it and decided to convene folks together in Detroit. So, off the back of the first one, we had countless stories of companies getting founded, funded, people getting employed. A lot of the folks who are now in the administration now were there last year. And so we want to just move on that momentum.
Austin, good luck with it. We'll talk soon. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Maria. Take care.
Austin Bishop here. Stay with us. We'll be right back.